Okay, you guys, so I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across this father who said he turned down a 20-year contract for his daughter from Disney. And it got me thinking, how many people, like young stars, his daughter's very young, how many families, I'm thinking back to the Justin Biebers, the Aaliyahs, even the Taylor Swifts, the Britney Spears, the Jessica Simpsons, how many people, how many parents were sucked into 20-year contracts and essentially selling their lives to record companies for money? And then it got me thinking about the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, and how all of these people, these companies, they're all being run by the same people, and that there is a price to pay when you decide to become elite. I recently came across, and I won't talk about this in this video, but I came across something that said Sugar Sanders is going through a humiliation ritual, and I resonated with that quite a bit. I thought, yeah, that sounds about right. It sounds about right that he is now getting his shine. They humiliated him in front of public TV. They said, we're going to do this, and then you'll be famous. Then we'll give you all the money in the world. You will be on top. But first, you need to be humiliated. And just the different, and I'll show you guys a video of a former NBA player talking about this as well, an NFL player. So, what I want to do first is I want to watch this video from this dad, and I want to watch it and then respond and react to it. Because this idea that you want to be world famous, infamous, I think we have to really question things. There's a lot of kids on TikTok, on social media who are getting famous and they're being approached like this man. And some of them do not have the wisdom that this man had. And they are putting their children in very dangerous situations with people who can effectually ruin their lives. So let's watch this video together and react. And you guys let me know what you guys think in the comment section.
That's crazy. I remember you made a post and you said that you were taking her off social media.
Yep.
This was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like you know, it was crazy that whole thing, bro, it was crazy. Like it when I say crazy, I mean like we getting phone calls from Ellen DeGeneres, Steve Harvey, like everybody. Just like, bro, even Drake was like, yo, what you want to do with her? You want to sign her as an artist, whatever, da da da. Like, and I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like I was put in a position where it was like, okay, you could sign her life away and just forget her childhood years,
Mm-hmm.
and she'll be rich forever, set. Like we'll all be rich.
See, this is how it starts. They put you on these TV shows. So pretty soon you're flying everywhere. So you can't really be in school because you're flying everywhere. So you're at some point you're like, okay, well, I'll pull out of school. And they're getting more visibility. Like being on TikTok is one thing, being on Instagram is one thing, being on national television, being on a Steve Harvey, a Jennifer Hudson, a Kelly, Ellen DeGeneres is another thing. So pretty soon you're flying everywhere, you're getting all this money, they're offering you things, and they slowly pull you in. I love what he said about I could sign her life away because once you become something to these record labels, they don't care about your schooling, they don't care about your childhood development, they don't care about your mental health, they don't care about you growing as a child. They care about their money and they care about their pockets. Sign her life away. Yes, she's done being a kid. And he said we'd all be rich. You guys, I'm convinced that's what's happened to a lot of these parents. A lot of these kids, their parents said, your life is going to change and my life is going to change and it's going to be worth it. Now, some of them didn't know what was in the contracts, but a lot of them were just concerned about themselves. And I have to give him credit for being wise and saying, no, I'm not doing it.
I'm talking about we had Disney, Nickelodeon deals at the table, everything, but it was like 20-year deals. Like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna jump into this, we're gonna get into music, we're gonna do acting, like boom, 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 boom.
Did you hear that? 20-year deals, which means we're going to get into acting, we're going to get into music. Like, think about Justin Bieber. Think about Britney Spears. Think about how Christina Aguilera, how they put them in different avenues as they grew up. You think it was just a natural progression? No, these companies are directing exactly where your children are going. And if they decide, like JoJo, that they don't want to do it, they bankrupt them and they block them from doing anything. They can't get out of these contracts. JoJo didn't want to be tied to her record label anymore, and she couldn't produce music for years. And they effectively destroyed her because the reason why someone becomes a world star, a pop star, a household name is because these music industries are promoting them. It's very hard to just get worldwide fame off of the internet or off of social media. So they were saying, "Hey, we have your life path curated out for you. Parents, you basically have no say." And that's the truth about this.
And so like I really had to sit there, bro, and really ask myself, like, Jimmy, like all that dope you sold and all the things you did illegally that you got away, you know what I mean? Like risking your freedom and all that. Like, what did you do that for? You know what I'm saying? And it was just like, I can't do that, sir. And I'm talking about damn near everybody told me I was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was like, how can I take, and I get a little emotional, I'm sorry, because, you know, it's
No,
my
you good,
daughter
bro.
and one of my kids, but it's just like, how can I take away what I was really risking my life for, you know, for her to live a normal life and enjoy life the way it is?
Such wisdom. And I imagine this was very difficult for him because if you're slinging drugs, if you're hitting licks, if you're doing illegal things, you're making good money quick, fast, and in a hurry. The music industry can be the same way. But this is such good self reflection. If I did all of that, I basically risked, because he could have gone to jail. Once you start committing crimes frequently, I don't know where he lives, but you could basically be in jail for life. They could throw a couple felonies on top of that. They'll have you in federal prison for years. Just the way that the system vindicates themselves. So he's saying, oh, I did all that so she could live a normal life, so she could go to school, a good school, she could have all the nice things. And I'm about to take that away from her. She's not going to have a regular childhood anyway. Why would I do all that? I could have just kept selling drugs. I could have just kept living that thug life because essentially it's the same. You're trapped either way. But this takes real self reflection. And I think also, like when you're really in the game, you know when you're being played and you know when something doesn't sit right. And he knew that something wasn't right about this.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's when we kind of like took a step from social media as far as her doing stuff, you know, making videos and all that. You know, we actually went and filmed some stuff and she got some shows on Netflix and things like that. But I was just like, you know what? I'm going to just let you get back to just living your life as a kid. Because now I'm able to provide for you the way I should have been able to provide for you legally. So let me just let you.
And I love that. And I love what he said there at the end about, we did some Netflix and we did some stuff. That's just great because you can do contract work. Contract work meaning, you're not tied to a Disney or a Nickelodeon. Because once they get you, Nickelodeon kids, y'all, think about all the Nickelodeon kids: Justin Timberlake, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, jacked up, Raven Simone, a mess. Mess. Okay, they are messed up in the head right now. So it's great that he said, we got a little something off of this. We could, if we invest it right, we'll be set for life. We're not going to be rich, but we're going to be set for life. And I just genuinely wish more parents would stop sacrificing their children for money and fame, because that's essentially what these parents are doing. And I have a whole issue with people putting their kids on TikTok and exploiting them, because at a very young age they learn, if I want money, I need to get it. I need attention. I need attention. And it's okay. So now I want to get into these former basketball players talking about their experience in the NBA and potentially some demonic rituals that were performed, because that's basically what happens. I think we got to get to the point, you guys, where we realize that nobody's becoming multi millionaires. I mean, rich, without being engaged in some sort of ritual. I think if we just like generally accept that, we will have a better hold on politics, on our society, how it works. I'm not talking about, the guy who lives down the street who has like, $15 million net worth, or even a $30 million net worth. I'm talking about people who are household names, because it's the fame too. It's not just the money, it's the fame, it's the notoriety. So let's take a listen to this.
and you made it to the league, bro.
1%,
It's a prestigious fraternity, bro. Like, need to be more respect on the guys who they don't look at as a so-called superstar. It's so much going on, bro. Like, and I don't even want to get into all that, but a lot of, like, bro, like, some superstars took a different route. Like, don't know, I ain't get on here to talk about that much, but some of that shit come with some demonic shit, some dark shit. You feel me? Some of that shit, like, it get real, you know. So I appreciate my journey. I appreciate my career. I appreciate my legacy. As I also stood for a lot, and I took a lot of hits for who I was as a person too. Like, I don't talk about the situation a lot, but I didn't get, bro. I took it real. I went through a lot with that. You know what I mean? In Dallas, after I really established myself in Dallas.
They held that against you?
Yeah. You know, like like, and I don't really get into it a lot on camera because I still respect that organization a lot, bro. That organization did a lot for me and my family. You know, I love the Dallas Mavericks, but I think it was bigger than the Dallas Mavericks. It wasn't just the Dallas Mavericks that held it against. It was bigger than that. It was a whole agenda in place for anyone who didn't conform to getting. I decided not to. I got kids. I had to explain to them. I just don't. I don't agree with, you know, anybody telling you to do something that go against your will, go against your belief system.
Before, it was kind of just about basketball. Let me just see how good I can be in basketball. You know what I mean? But once I found that deeper purpose, it made me kind of understand life at a deeper level. And I'm still on that journey to this day.
Yes, sir.
I'm still on that journey. And I think athletes need to know that. There's a lot of athletes out here that just want to make it to the NFL, just want to make it to the NBA. You got Instagram, Facebook, you got so much distractions, and they just looking at the lifestyle, but they don't know what's going on inside of the person. They don't know what's really going on.
So you guys heard that there. You heard what he said. He said, you know, there's a lot of, you know, people need to respect the guys who are not superstars because there's a lot of demonic that happens behind the scenes. And that's 100% correct. It's kind of like how we mocked the one-hit wonders. And now that the Overton window has shifted and we can share a little bit more, people are saying, yeah, I'm a one-hit wonder because I said no to taking it from behind from Diddy. Or I said no because I wouldn't go in that room and have, you know, inappropriate relations with men and women. Right. So now we're finding out that it wasn't that they were terrible singers. They just didn't have what it takes. We used to say that they didn't have what it takes. No, they had morals and they had character. And we're learning that more and more and more, that it is sometimes not worth the money because you lose your soul. I firmly believe that what's happening with Justin Bieber particularly is that all the money in the world cannot soothe his broken, distressed soul. And I know he's looking for the Lord. I know he's meaning, but it's tough because he did some things, he engaged in some things that he can never take back. He was manipulated in a way that he could never take back. And what this young man is saying is that, you know, I made some decisions, and it's not always big things, right? He made a decision not to get the injection, you know, during 2020. And that came with its own thing. It was like, we're going to shun you. If you're a part of this organization, you know, if you're a part of this organization, you're going to behave this way. We'll pay you this way. You know, I'm sure they paid guys to say things on the internet and to manipulate the public and say to do something. And he said, no, I'm not going to do it. And that's very minor. That's a very minor decision to make. But thinking about, what about, you know, hey, you need to come to this party, you need to do this. Now we have blackmail on you, right? They can tell LeBron James to do whatever he wants because LeBron James, they have blackmail on LeBron James. LeBron James is a superstar because he's been bought and paid for. It's not just that he's great at basketball. It's because there is a contract in place. And he was willing to do things that other people were not willing to do. And I love that he said that. I love, like, the respect that we need to have for these people, these guys who are going out there and just playing football for the love of the game, not because they're, you know, they're bound by some contract. And it's honorable. It's honorable that you said, you know, I'm not going to do that. You know, I'm not going to do that. Like a Derek Carr, you know, Derek Carr loves the Lord. And he had a good journeyman's career, right? But he was never a superstar. And I can imagine why, because he was willing to say no. And a lot of people are not willing to say no. Are you? And that's the question we have to ask ourselves. All right, you guys, that's it for this video. You guys let me know what you think, and we'll talk soon.